SEO is dead. Okay, no it's not, but it is changing fast. In fact, by 2026, traditional search traffic could drop as much as 50%. The reason is simple. More people are turning to AI-powered tools like ChatGPT for answers. ChatGPT alone has over 180 million users every month, and nearly 80% of consumers say they'll use AI search in the next year. The bottom line, if you're only focusing on traditional SEO, you're about to miss out. So what's the problem? When someone asks an AI assistant a question, it might give them a full answer without ever sending them to your website. If your brand isn't part of that AI-generated answer, you basically don't exist to that user. Traditional SEO is optimizing for a list of blue links on Google. That's not going to cut it in this scenario. Google's still huge, but it's no longer the only game in town. Bing is integrating AI and newer answer engines are popping up every day. I can't keep up with them, to be perfectly honest. The way people search is evolving and our strategies need to evolve with it. I've spent years in SEO and I can tell you, we've seen changes before. There's been mobile search, there's been voice search. Look, SEO is dead, clickbait, but this AI shift is real. People trust the answers they get from AI chats, and about 70% of them actually trust those results. If the AI consistently surfaces someone else's content instead of yours, that's a problem. It means less visibility, it means less traffic, and fewer customers over time. So how do we fix it? Enter Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO. Think of GEO as SEO's new sidekick, but for the AI age. Geo, I'm just going to say Geo because it's too hard to pronounce GEO. Geo means adjusting your content so the AI-driven search engines, stuff like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Perplexity, and so on, can actually find and include your brand in their answers. It's about making sure that when an AI is answering questions in your niche, it's pulling up information from and about you. Look, here's a simple definition. GEO is the process of improving your brand's content to boost visibility in AI-generated results. In other words, you're helping AI models understand that your brand is relevant, credible, and worth quoting when they answer user questions. The goal is the same as it's always been. More visibility, more traffic, more business. The playing field has just changed and it's different. We're not just competing for like 10 blue links anymore. We're competing to be the source that an AI assistant or an AI engine, whatever you want to call it, trusts and cites. Now, you might be thinking this sounds a lot like SEO. What's actually different here? And the thing is, you're right. GEO builds on many classic SEO principles. High quality content, still crucial. Keywords still matter. User intent, still critical. In fact, SEO lays the groundwork for proper GEO, but there are differences in emphasis. SEO is about ranking higher on Google or Bing or whatever. GEO is about getting your information woven into an AI's answer. In SEO, you optimize for a search algorithm that ranks pages. In GEO, you adjust content for a language model that synthesizes information. The AI just isn't choosing if your page is number 1 or number 5. It might combine pieces from multiple sites and sources. Formatting and clarity become even more important. AI prefers content it can easily digest, clear structure, straightforward language, and well-labeled sections. Personalization also plays a role. AI answers might change based on the context or a user's history, so content that covers topics comprehensively and clearly can be a better building block than those specialized answers. So why does GEO matter so much right now? It's because user behavior is shifting. If half your audience starts asking ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude for advice instead of searching on Google, you can't ignore that. Gartner, a respected research firm, predicts a 25% drop in traditional search volume by 2026. They also predict over 50% less organic traffic coming from old school search engines in that time frame. This isn't a doom and gloom prophecy, it's a wake-up call. Early adopters of GEO are going to have a huge advantage. If your competitor's content is getting referenced by AI and yours isn't, what do you think wins in the long run? Now let's talk about how GEO works in practice. This is where it gets exciting because it's not magic, it's strategy. It's about adjusting how you create and present your content. So let me break down a few key steps. Number 1, cover the question, then answer it directly. When you create content, think about the specific questions users might ask an AI. Then make sure you answer those questions clearly and upfront in your text. For example, if you have a page about, best coffee beans for cold brew, start it with a sentence that directly answers that query. AI models love clear, concise answers that they can easily grab. Number 2 is use plain English or plain language and be specific. An AI isn't impressed by fancy buzzwords. It's looking for clarity. Write in a way a smart 15-year-old could understand. That doesn't mean dumbing it down. It just means no fluff and no jargon. If you need to use terms, explain them. If the AI can easily parse your content, it's more likely to include it. And this might sound like SEO to you. That's because it ties back to the old SEO idea of good user experience. That's what's good for people. Clarity is good for AI too. Number 3 is cite facts and provide evidence. This is a big one. If you mention a fact, a stat, or a quote from an expert, include it and reference it. I spoke to the CISO of Anthropic, which is the LLM behind Claude, and he said that they have, and he called it this, a bullshit detector that looks at content, decides if it's bullshit or not, and then discards it if it does, and it will consider to include it if it doesn't. And he says it's very, very good at it. And it's reasonable to assume that the other LLMs have something like that. So citing your references builds trust with human readers. And it turns out it helps with AI visibility too. In fact, one study found that adding sources, quotes, and statistics can boost the chance of your content showing up in AI results by around 30 to 40%. Think about that. Simply by backing up your claims, you make your content more attractive for an AI to use. Number 4 is keep your content updated and authoritative. AI models have a cutoff for their training data, but most of them are also retrieving up-to-date information via live searches. Regularly update your key pages so they stay current and demonstrate your expertise. If you have credentials or years of experience, mention it. Show that you know your stuff. There's a concept in SEO that's controversial, but it's called EAT. Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. A lot of people tell you that's crucial in SEO. Whether it is or not is a matter of debate, but it absolutely does matter for AI. Content from a trusted expert is more likely to be quoted or cited by an AI than you just making up stuff. Remember how I said there's a bullshit detector? You want to pass that. Number 5 is leverage multiple platforms. Don't just post content on your blog and call it a day. AI engines learn from all over the web. Forums, Q&A sites, social media. So share your knowledge in places like Reddit, Quora, Medium, LinkedIn, or industry forums. If there's a popular question in your field on Reddit and you have a great answer, post it. That content might feed into models or at least be found when they crawl. Also, user-generated content like reviews, testimonials, or community posts can signal to AI that your brand is being talked about in a good way. It's all part of painting a bigger picture of your authority on a particular topic. Now I want to give you a real-world example of geo in action so this doesn't all stay abstract. Imagine you run a travel blog and you notice that ChatGPT often lists the same popular attractions when people ask, what are fun things to do in New York City? You have an article on hidden gems in NYC, but originally the AI wasn't mentioning it. So you decide to update your article with more detailed info on one little known spot, say a rooftop cafe that tourists rarely find. I don't know why I'm on a coffee kick today. And you add a quote from a local expert and some stats about how few visitors go there. You also make sure the title and intro of your article make it clear that you're listing fun things to do in New York City. What happens? Well, in an academic study, researchers did something similar and saw the AI answers shift to include most of their updated content. In other words, by making strategic tweaks to one source that the AI was using, they influenced the AI's response to lean towards that content. Think about the power of that. You can actually steer the AI to feature your brand's perspective more prominently by adjusting your content. That's geo at work. To break down that example, originally the AI might have said, visit Central Park, see Times Square, check out the Met Museum, the generic big attractions that everybody knows about. After geo, maybe now it says, and have a coffee at Rooftop Cafe X as recommended by your site name. Now you're on the radar. The user hears your brand or sees it on the answer screen. Even if they don't click a link immediately, you've made an impression. Over time, that kind of presence is huge for brand awareness and trust. Okay, so we've covered what geo is, why it matters, and some simple things on how to start doing it. Let's hit the key takeaway. Geo isn't here to replace SEO. It's here to extend it. The fundamentals of good content haven't changed. You still need to understand your audience, answer their questions, and earn their trust. What's changing is where those answers are appearing. It might be on a Google results page, or it might be spoken by someone's AI assistant or shown in a chat window. But I want you to remember this. The businesses that adapt to geo now are positioning themselves to win in the long run. Whenever new technology comes along, whether it's social media, mobile browsing, or now generative AI, there are always those who say it's just a fad, and those who jump on it and reap the benefits. In my experience, being an early adopter without falling for hype often gives you a serious edge. So don't be scared of the term generative engine optimization. It's basically an evolution of what you're already doing. Focus on clarity and being truly helpful. If you do that, whether a human or an AI is reading your content, you're going to do well. Now, before we wrap up, here's a quick action plan. Make a list of the top questions your customers or audience are asking or would ask an AI. Ensure you have content that answers each one clearly. Take up your best articles and beef it up with a statistic, a quote, or a source citation. Then see if that content starts popping up more in AI answers over the next few months. It's a bit hard to measure right now, but keep an eye on Bing's AI chat or Google's AI search or Gemini or Perplexity or whatever for mentions of your content. Keep an eye on what AI is doing in your industry. If you can, try out Google's search overviews and see what kind of results it gives and whether your competitors show up there. And of course, continue doing solid SEO. Fast site, good titles, mobile-friendly design, all that. Geo doesn't replace those fundamentals, it builds on them. Now, if you've listened this far, you're already ahead of a lot of folks who are ignoring this shift. So good on you for investing in your knowledge. Search might be changing, but the opportunity to reach people is bigger than ever for those who adapt. Keep learning, keep experimenting, and as I like to say, do the work. If you want to learn more about geo, check out the link in the comments. I have a community called the Automation and Marketing Society. I go fully in depth on how to do geo for your brand and your business, as well as tons of other great marketing and automation and AI training. Check it out, and I'll see you in the next one.